All right, so welcome to another deep dive with us. Today we're going deep into the world of Mr. Plankton.
No, Mr. Plankton.
It's a K-drama that's really kind of got people talking.
Yeah, it's got a very unique blend of romance, comedy, melodrama.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's some action in there too.
it's got it all.
It does.
And it really focuses, I think, a lot on self-discovery, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
So we're using detailed episode recaps and reviews from World Wonders drama to do this deep dive.
Yeah.
So right away, right off the bat, you're kind of drawn in by the story of Hae Jo.
Yeah.
He's Mr. Plankton.
He is.
And he finds out that he has a terminal illness, and he sets off on this quest to find his biological father.
It's very interesting. Very interesting the way they set that up.
Yeah.
Because, he's abandoned as a child.
Right.
And the show really digs deep into like the psychology of it.
Yeah.
He was abandoned after his parents realized that he wasn't biologically related to his father.
Aw.
And that experience really shapes his entire worldview.
Yeah.
He even identifies very strongly with Plankton.
But it's not all doom and gloom, right?
No, not at all. Not at all.
I mean, there's a lot of humor in the show.
Very much so. Very much so, yeah.
Yeah.
The writers do a really brilliant job of weaving that in.
Yeah.
So it never feels too heavy or melodramatic.
Yeah, it's finding that light in the darkness, which is
Absolutely.
absolutely
Kind of a
K-drama theme, if you will.
Yeah. There was I remember reading about a scene where Hae Jo, he dreams that he's actually Plankton
Oh, yeah.
and he wants to go be with them in the sea.
Right.
What do you think that symbolizes?
Yeah, I thought that was a really fascinating image.
Yeah.
You could interpret that in many ways, right?
Yeah.
You know, it could be a desire to escape the complexities of his life,
Right.
to kind of just become part of something larger than himself.
He even says at one point that he wants to be insignificant but essential,
Right.
And that seems like a direct reference to the role of plankton in the ocean.
Yeah.
The ecosystem.
Right. So it's like he wants to be small,
Yeah,
but he also wants to be important in a
Right.
way.
absolutely.
But isn't that ironic?
yeah,
He's spending all this time helping other people find their loved ones.
exactly.
But he's kind of avoiding his own family
Right.
in a way.
That's what's so brilliant about the show is that there's this constant tension
Yeah.
between Hae Jo's desire for connection,
Right.
but also his fear of it.
Right.
And that really stems from that childhood abandonment.
Oh, yeah.
And this tension plays out in all of his relationships,
Right.
especially with his ex-girlfriend, Jae-mi.
Oh, Jae-mi.
Yes.
So Jae-mi's story is also very compelling, I think.
No, absolutely.
She's dealing with,
Yeah.
obviously, the heartbreak of that past relationship.
Yeah.
But she's also dealing with early menopause.
Which is it's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's
It's something that's not really talked about a lot.
No, not at all. Yeah.
And she has a fiance who really wants to start a family.
Yeah, who desperately wants to start a family.
So there's a lot going on.
A lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what stood out to me about Jae-mi is that she doesn't know when her real birthday is.
Right.
She's adopted, and
Yeah, she was adopted and never knew her real birth date.
so she celebrates her birthday every month,
Every month.
which is kind of funny,
It is funny.
but also kind of sad.
It's a little heartbreaking.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like she's trying to reclaim something that was taken from her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
So she does get to meet her biological mother at some point.
She does. But that meeting doesn't go exactly as she hoped.
Right.
Her mother's actually kind of hesitant to fully acknowledge her,
Oh, wow.
which leaves Jae-mi feeling even more lost and disconnected.
So it's like they're both,
Yeah,
Hae Jo and Jae-mi, are kind of both searching for this
absolutely.
sense of belonging.
Yeah, sense of belonging and completeness.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
And their stories, I mean, they kind of intertwine in some pretty interesting ways.
Oh, they do, yeah.
Like I was reading that Hae Jo ends up helping Jae-mi find out what her real birth date is.
He does, yeah. He plays a key role in that.
Even though he's dealing with his own mortality.
Right.
He's still finding ways to support her.
Yeah, he's got this really deep compassion that goes beyond,
Yeah.
their romantic history.
That's really something.
It is.
But speaking of romantic history,
Oh, here we go.
we've got to talk about this love triangle.
Oh, yes, the love triangle. We can't forget that.
It wouldn't be a K-drama without a good love triangle.
Exactly.
And this one it's got some twists and turns.
Oh, it does.
It starts with Hae Jo kidnapping Jae-mi from her wedding.
Kidnapping her from her wedding.
At her request.
At her request, no less. Can you imagine?
I,
That is not your typical wedding day drama.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what's going on there? And what about this fiance? Is he a villain?
You would think so, right?
Yeah.
But surprisingly, no. He's actually a really kind and caring person.
Oh, wow.
The fiance, Heung,
Okay.
he seems totally devoted to Jae-mi.
So this isn't like your typical love triangle where everyone's like
No.
backstabbing each
Just
other.
scheming.
Yeah.
No, it's really unconventional because of how the relationships evolve.
Okay.
Heung and Hae Jo, they start out as rivals,
Right.
of course,
Yeah.
but they end up developing this really deep bond.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So what happens? I mean, how do they go from rivals to
Well, I don't want to give too much away,
Sure.
but there's this really great scene where Heung actually cares for Hae Jo
Okay.
during his seizure, and Hae Jo actually calls him Heung, which means older brother in Korean.
Oh,
It's a
wow.
really poignant moment
Yeah.
that really highlights the depth of their connection.
So we've got these really complex characters dealing with some pretty heavy stuff.
We do.
We've got unexpected plot twists. We've got this really unusual love triangle.
It's a lot.
And it sounds like this is all just in like the first few episodes.
Oh, you're catching on quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Plankton definitely keeps you on the edge of your seat,
Right.
but it's not all just,
Great.
super dramatic and heavy.
Right.
There's a lot of humor there too.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier.
I did.
So can you give us an example of...
Oh, there's so many funny moments.
Okay.
Like, remember how I said they reunite
Hae Jo and Jae-mi?
Hae Jo and Jae-mi?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, instead of kissing him,
Okay.
when they see each other again, she bites his nose.
She...
It's hilarious.
Oh, that's great.
It is.
Yeah.
It's completely unexpected.
Right.
And it's just a hilarious twist on that typical K-drama trope.
Okay, this is going on my watch list.
You got to watch it.
I have to.
It's so good.
The mix of,
Yeah.
emotional depth and humor just sounds refreshing.
It is.
But it's not all fun and games, right?
Well, that's true, yeah.
I mean, I imagine there's some deeper themes that the show's exploring.
You're right.
Yeah.
Underneath all that drama and comedy,
Yeah.
Mr. Plankton grapples with some pretty profound questions
Okay.
about self-discovery, acceptance, the meaning of family.
Oh.
And it does it in a way that's both relatable and really thought-provoking.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued.
Good.
Let's dive into some of those themes.
Okay.
Like what are some of the moments that really highlight those ideas?
Well, I think one of the most striking examples is how this show uses Hae Jo's identification with Plankton
Yeah, okay.
to explore this idea of finding your place in the world.
Okay, so help me unpack that a little bit.
Okay.
What is it about Plankton that
Yeah.
really resonates with him so much?
Yeah, well, the show actually uses several visual metaphors
Okay.
to kind of connect Hae Jo to Plankton.
Okay.
There are these scenes where the camera focuses on him just kind of drifting aimlessly, almost like he's floating in the ocean.
Wait.
And then the way he describes himself,
Yeah.
insignificant but essential,
Yeah.
that directly mirrors the role of Plankton
Right.
in the marine ecosystem.
So it's not just like a quirky character trait. It's
Yeah.
really a reflection of
Deeper.
his emotional state.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It speaks to his feelings of being lost, adrift, searching for a sense of purpose, belonging.
And I feel like that's something that a lot of people can relate to.
For sure, especially in today's world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's almost like Mr. Plankton is doing more than just entertaining.
It is, yeah.
It's kind of encouraging us to think about
Our own lives.
Yeah, it's encouraging us to reflect on our own lives and our own search for meaning.
You hit the nail on the head.
It's what makes it so compelling.
Yeah.
It manages to entertain,
Right.
engage, and provoke thought all at the same time.
Yeah.
It's a delicate balancing act,
It is.
but the writers pull it off masterfully.
I can't wait to see how it all unfolds.
Me too.
But before we dive further into the show's themes, I kind of want to look a little bit more at the characters themselves
Okay.
and how they kind of evolve.
Yeah.
And we've talked a bit about Hae Jo and Jae-mi.
We have
But what about Heung?
Heung. His journey is particularly interesting because he kind of represents a break from traditional expectations.
Okay.
At first glance, he seems like the typical nice guy fiance,
Uh-huh.
successful, supportive, eager to start a family.
But there's more to him than meets the eye.
Precisely.
Right.
As the story unfolds.
You see him grappling with his own desires, insecurities.
Right. So he's not just like a cardboard cutout love interest.
No, not at all.
Okay.
He's a fully realized character.
Yeah.
With his own complexities and motivations.
And it sounds like his relationship with both Hae Jo and Jae-mi is...
It is. It's anything but predictable.
Okay.
Yeah, he's forced to confront his own assumptions about love, family, happiness.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
In this first part
Yeah.
of our deep dive here.
Yeah.
We've kind of gone over the premise of Mr. Plankton.
Oh, yeah.
Met the main characters,
Yeah.
and started to unpack some of these deeper themes.
Yeah, and really we've only just scratched the surface.
Right.
There's so much more to discover about this
Oh,
show.
I can't wait. So stay tuned, because we are going to continue our deep dive
Yes, we are.
into Mr. Plankton in the next part
We'll be right back
of this episode.
after the break.
All right. See you then.
Welcome back. We're continuing our deep dive into Mr. Plankton, and I think it's time we really dig into those themes of self-discovery and acceptance that run through the whole show.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how those play out for each of the characters, especially given the unique situations they're in.
Exactly. And, going back to Hae Jo and how much he identifies with Plankton, it's not just a random quirk, It's like a metaphor for his whole journey.
Yeah, like he sees himself as small and insignificant, drifting through life without a purpose.
Exactly. But there's also that beauty in the image of Plankton, too, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they might be tiny, but they're vital to the whole ocean ecosystem.
That's the brilliance of the show. It takes this seemingly negative self-perception and flips it, turns it into something positive.
Right. So, like, Hae Jo might feel lost, but he's also capable of incredible kindness and compassion.
Exactly. Just like Plankton contribute to this larger web of life,
So it's less about him finding his biological family and more about finding his chosen family.
Yeah, the people who love and accept him for who he is. Absolutely.
And that brings us back to Jae-mi and her search for her own identity, which is just as compelling, especially with how she handles not knowing her birthday.
Oh, yeah. Celebrating every month, that's definitely a unique way to cope.
It is. It's like she's trying to create this sense of belonging through constant celebration.
But deep down, she yearns for that deeper connection, that link to her roots.
Which makes that meeting with her biological mother all the more powerful.
Right, and so bittersweet.
Yeah.
I mean, you feel that longing for a mother who will embrace her fully, but when it doesn't happen,
Yeah.
she's forced to confront this new layer of her identity.
And how does she handle that? I mean, does she just like spiral?
Surprisingly, no. It's actually Hae Jo who steps in and helps her find closure.
Really?
Yeah, he arranges for her to get her real birth date from her mother.
Wow.
It's a small gesture,
Yeah.
but so meaningful.
Oh, that's really beautiful. It shows how their journeys are intertwined. Even if they're not together romantically anymore.
They still care deeply for each other.
And it kind of highlights that broader theme of finding connection in unexpected places.
Oh, for sure.
Right, that family isn't just about blood.
It's about who shows up for you,
Absolutely. But what about Heung, the fiance?
Oh, Heung. Yeah, his arc is really interesting because it kind of challenges those traditional ideas of what it means to be a man.
Okay.
I mean, he starts out as the perfect fiance, successful, supportive, wants a family.
But we know there's more to him.
Oh, yeah, as the story progresses,
Yeah.
we see those vulnerabilities, those insecurities bubbling up.
Right.
That whole kidnapping incident at the wedding is like a turning point for him.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
It forces him to confront his desires, question if he's truly happy.
So he's on a self-discovery journey, too.
Oh, absolutely, alongside Hae Jo and Jae-mi.
Yeah, and what's interesting is how his relationships with both of them contribute to that growth.
Yeah. I mean, at first, Heung sees Hae Jo as a rival, a threat. But then,
Right, of course.
through these unexpected events, they develop this bond.
Right. You mentioned that scene where Hae Jo calls him Heung.
Yes. And that's so significant in Korean culture.
Yeah.
Heung implies that deep respect, brotherhood. You wouldn't just say that to anyone.
Right, right, right.
So it marks this shift in their dynamic. They're not rivals anymore.
Yeah, they've moved beyond that.
Into genuine care and understanding.
Which is a powerful turning point.
It is.
It really subverts expectations. You think it'll be all jealousy and conflict, but then...
But instead, you get this heartwarming development.
Yeah.
And that extends to Heung's relationship with Jae-mi, too.
Oh, how so?
He starts realizing that her happiness might not be in what he expects of her,
Interesting.
starts supporting her, pursuing her own dreams.
Wow. So all three characters are challenging norms and expectations?
Absolutely. At its core, Mr. Plankton is about breaking free from those constraints,
Yeah.
embracing your true self,
Right.
accepting your flaws, your past, your mortality even, and just living fully in the moment.
But it's not all heavy and introspective, is it?
No, no, the writers are so good at balancing those emotional moments with humor.
Right, right. Jae-mi biting Hae Jo's nose.
Exactly. It's heartwarming, but hilarious.
Yeah.
It's that perfect mix.
Yeah.
And, Heung's mother, with her prayers to her ancestors,
Yeah.
always invoking a specific numbered ancestor for each situation.
Right.
It's funny, endearing.
It's like even in the face of adversity, life can be absurd.
Exactly. And that humor keeps the show from being too melodramatic.
So Mr. Plankton can make you laugh, cry, and think all at the same time.
Exactly. It's the kind of show that stays with you.
Yeah.
It manages to be entertaining, engaging, and thought-provoking all at once.
It really sounds like it.
And that's what makes it so compelling.
It does. It does.
It really does.
And that brings us to a big question for our listener.
Okay.
Does knowing our time is limited help us live more fully?
That's the question Mr. Plankton grapples with.
Like it does for Hae Jo.
Yeah, Hae Jo's illness becomes this catalyst for him to really confront his past, embrace the present,
Right.
make those meaningful connections.
It's almost like facing death gives him this newfound appreciation for life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a powerful message, no matter your circumstances.
Yeah.
Cherish the moment, let go of regret, focus on what matters.
So it's more than just a K-drama. It's about life, loss, meaning.
It is, and it does it with wit, warmth, emotion. It resonates.
I'm hooked already. But what are some of those standout moments? The ones that capture the essence of the show?
Oh, there's so many. But one that stuck with me is when Hae Jo forgets his apartment password after a hospital visit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's so significant about that?
It seems like a small detail, but it speaks volumes about his condition,
Okay.
that fragility of life.
Yeah.
You see the fear in his eyes, realizing his memory is fading.
It's that reminder that time is precious.
Exactly, and the show doesn't shy away from that. It portrays those challenges honestly, sensitively.
But also celebrates human connection, that resilience.
You got it. It's light and shadow, humor and heartbreak, all blended masterfully.
Okay, I'm adding this to my must-watch list for sure.
You won't regret it.
But before we wrap up, I have to ask, the love triangle, does it get resolved?
The age-old question. I won't spoil the ending, but the resolution is satisfying and unexpected.
Oh, intriguing. So not your typical K-drama ending.
Not at all. Mr. Plankton avoids those tropes. It gives a conclusion that feels real, emotionally resonant.
I can't wait to see it. This deep dive has been so insightful.
It's a show that deserves all the hype, believe me.
So in this part, we've really explored those themes of self-discovery, acceptance, the meaning of family. We've analyzed the characters, their arcs, Hae Jo, Jae-mi, Heung.
Yeah.
We've even touched on that unique humor, that poignant portrayal of mortality.
Yeah, we've barely scratched the surface.
Right. There's so much more to uncover.
Layers upon layers.
And that's what makes it so captivating. It rewards repeated viewings.
It invites you to engage on a deeper level, for sure.
Mr. Plankton, a true gem of a K-drama.
It is. I highly recommend it to anyone looking for something that'll challenge expectations and leave a mark.
Excellent. Well, that brings us to the end of part 2 of our deep dive. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into Mr. Plankton. It's been a journey, really getting to the heart of this K-drama.
It has. And, we've talked about the blend of genres, the romance, comedy, the melodrama. But what elevates Mr. Plankton is the symbolism.
Oh, symbolism. K-dramas are known for that.
They are. It's so layered. And we touched on Hae Jo and the plankton, but there's another level to that metaphor.
Okay, what's that?
Remember how he says insignificant but essential?
Mm.
That speaks to Korean values.
Right.
The collective harmony, the individual's role in society.
So even though he feels lost, he still wants to contribute to something bigger.
Exactly. It's subtle, but it reflects how identity is tied to belonging to a community.
And that's shown visually too, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. There are these scenes where the camera pulls back.
Yeah.
Hae Jo's tiny amidst these vast landscapes, the ocean, the city.
Wow.
It emphasizes his insignificance, but also reminds us he's part of something larger.
A drop in the ocean, but still part of the sea.
Exactly. And it extends to other characters, too, like Jae-mi searching for her mother.
Right.
There's that shot of her on a busy street, lost in a sea of faces.
Oh, wow. I bet that was powerful.
It speaks to that universal search for connection no matter where you are.
Yeah, and that isolation is emphasized through color too, isn't it?
It is. K-dramas use color so well.
Yeah, they do. What color stood out to you in Mr. Plankton?
You see a lot of cool tones, blues, grays, greens that evoke melancholy,
Right.
but they're contrasted with warmer hues, yellows, oranges,
Okay.
symbolizing hope, warmth.
So it's not all bleakness.
No, there's a glimmer of light,
Mm.
visually mirroring the show's message.
Right, even in loss, there's hope, human connection.
Exactly. The creators really thought of every detail. It's what makes it so profound.
It really does elevate the show.
It does. It engages your mind, your heart, your senses. That's why it resonates with people.
So we've got characters, themes, symbolism, even the visuals. What else sets Mr. Plankton apart?
The relationships, they're so nuanced, so real.
Yeah, we talked about the love triangle, but there's more to it than that.
Oh, much more. Take Hae Jo and Heung,
Right, they start as rivals.
but become something more.
Yeah, that young moment.
Exactly. But it's not all perfect. They have disagreements, tensions.
It's not your typical K-drama bromance then.
No, it's real. And that extends to Jae-mi and her adoptive mother, too.
Oh, how so?
It's complex. There are unspoken resentments. It's messy.
So Mr. Plankton embraces those imperfections.
It does. And that makes the characters relatable.
So for our listener, why should they care about Mr. Plankton?
If you want a K-drama that stays with you, this is it.
Yeah.
It makes you laugh, cry, think. It challenges your ideas about love, family, life.
Reminds you of the beauty in the ordinary, the power of connection, living in the moment.
And it does all that with wit, warmth, and genuine emotion.
Wow, it sounds incredible.
It is. Mr. Plankton is a must-watch.
Add it to your list. Be prepared to be moved.
You won't regret it.
Well, there you have it, our deep dive into the world of Mr. Plankton.
It's been a pleasure exploring it with you.
We've laughed, cried, learned a lot, and I hope our listeners feel the same.
Me too. It's a show that deserves to be discussed.
If you're looking for a K-drama that's more than just entertainment, Mr. Plankton is the one.
Absolutely. It'll challenge you, move you, and stay with you long after the credits roll.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring and keep diving deep.